Hey everybody, this is Sarah Luna, and you are tuning into the Royal Glow Up Realm, so welcome. And I hope you guys have been doing great. I have been doing great myself, and today we're going to talk about discipline without motivation and how to stay focused on your goals even when you feel unmotivated. The reality is, if you're waiting to feel motivated to change your life, you're going to stay stuck. Motivation comes and goes, but discipline is what keeps your life on track. Now, before you tune out and say, oh, discipline, that's so boring, let me show you a really cool method that I use when I'm feeling unmotivated to do things for my life. This is basically a method that I use, and we're going to call it the minimum method today. Now, I may rename it later, but that's what we're going to call it for now. And so this method is actually just you showing up for what you need to do, just in a smaller form. So for example, say you want to work out today, right? But you're not feeling 100% and you're really not feeling motivated. So what you would do, instead of saying to yourself, oh, I'm going to work out for a whole hour today and, really train my muscles and do what I need to do, instead, you're going to just focus on that first 10 minutes. 10 minutes. That's all I want you to commit to. And see, the trick is 10 minutes doesn't sound like very long, but a lot of times, whenever you go ahead and just do this 10 minutes, you'll want to do 20 minutes and then 30 minutes and so on and so forth. And the reason why is because you get out of your own way, right? Your brain gets out of its own way. It thinks, oh, 10 minutes, I can do that. That's easy. And see, the trick is you're tricking your brain into doing hard things, convincing yourself that it's easy because, well, it actually is. See, you don't need a perfect routine, okay? You don't need a perfect day-to-day, every 5 minutes is accounted for type of schedule. You need a minimum method. And what I mean by that is you need a method that will work for you even on the worst days. So if you tell yourself, even on my worst day, I want to do 15 minutes of cardio, right? And that can be in the morning, in the evening, or just whenever you want to do that, right? If you can hit your minimum every day or 5 days a week, right, then you're going to make more progress than you think. Because a lot of times people don't think that amount of time is going to make a difference, right, with their goals and everything. Like, say you're like really overweight and you're thinking, oh, how is 10 or 15 minutes going to even make a difference? It will, I promise, because I use this method myself, and I've lost over 100 pounds. Okay, so I've been where you're at, and if you're not there right now, I've been in that spot before where I was thinking I'm just morbidly obese, I can't do anything about it, feeling helpless about it, like, oh, there's just so much to do, how am I gonna make a difference with just one small action like this? And it really does make a difference, guys. Another way that you can look at this, like another, frame of reference, would be something called micro commitments. Now, you may have heard this term online before. The way that I like to use this term is exactly what we've been talking about this whole time. I like to use this term to describe the, the process of tricking your brain into doing the thing, right? Just like we were talking about earlier. Okay, I'll work out for 10 minutes. Like, okay, I'll edit my video for 10 minutes. I'll do 10 minutes worth of homework. That's a micro commitment. And when you start doing life this way and you start stacking up all of those wins from micro commitments, you're going to be surprised at how much progress you make. You're going to look back and be like, dang, Sarah was right about this. If you can hit your minimum standard, even on a hard day, you've already got it made. Something that I like to incorporate with this method is the timer trick. 10 minutes of cleaning, 10 minutes of studying, 10 minutes of working out, 10 minutes of organizing, a 10-minute shower if you're running, late on time. All of these things can be done. If you just set a timer for 10, maybe 15 minutes and tell yourself, I'm going to get as much done with this, task, get as much done as possible within that 10 to 15 minutes. So say you set a 10-minute timer and you say, for 10 minutes, I'm going to clean. I'm going to do nothing but clean, ignore my phone, ignore everything, right? And you would be so surprised what you can get done in 10 minutes. Literally, guys, sometimes this is what I rely on to keep my space clean during a busy week, okay? There's all these questions of how do these people, keep everything done? And, time is of the essence, guys. Now, I'm not saying, that you have to account for every 5 to 10 minute block in your day, okay? Just like I said earlier, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is you need to get something done, right? Like you need to get your counters wiped down and do a sink load of dishes. Let's just use that as an example. You can get that done in 10 minutes, maybe 15. Like, come on now. Like, you just have to start. And if you can hit that minimum, during this time, then you'll look around and be like, oh, my kitchen is cleaner, than it was. And that's what we want, guys. Even just a little progress is better than none. Here's a good one. This is how I trick myself into going for a walk when I really don't feel like it. So I set that timer for 10 minutes. I get the stroller ready with the babies, because I have 2 toddlers. And I will tell myself, I'm going on a 10-minute walk. That's it. Just a 10-minute walk. And this is days when I don't feel like it. Like, I like to take walks, okay? And I like to take walks for a lot longer than 10 minutes. But we're talking like those ugly days where you just don't want to do anything, but you need to. And a 10-minute walk will help your vitamin D intake, and get you active and so on and so forth. We know the good reasons why you should stay active, okay? It's all about doing it when you don't feel like it. And that's what I do. I set a timer on my phone for 10 minutes. At the end of that timer, if that timer goes off and I just don't feel like walking anymore, I'm like, okay, I did my 10 minutes. I'll walk back, to the house and be good. But a lot of times when I hear that timer go off, I'm like, I'm not ready to go in. And it tricks my brain into wanting to do the thing, okay? And this is what you guys got to start doing, to stack up those small wins. Once you start stacking up a few wins, your self-confidence with getting things done and your self-confidence with productivity increases so much, y'all. And it's unbelievable. So try this out for yourself. See how it works for you and let me know in the comments what you think.